vice president just assumed office. I can't have this conspiracy stuff going mainstream.
The connections are troubling, especially Underwood.
So this goes all the way to the White House?
It might.
I need you to delete all of our phone history.
You want me to just walk away? Act as if I don't know anything?
Tusk is in town. He's meeting with the president in 49 minutes.
He's convincing the president to change his mind.
You would be making a disastrous mistake.
I feel like I'm losing control of my own goddamn administration.
Hit him again, and hit him now.
He's a dangerous man.
I want him obliterated.
More than that. Let's make him suffer.
I don't know whether to be proud or terrified.
Some people think too.
It is Cordkillers Episode 1. Ladies and gentlemen, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you can watch what you want, when you want, where you want it, and on any damn device you choose. I'm Tom Merritt.
Holy crap, I'm Brian Brushwood, but you can hardly recognize me with all these goosebumps I have after watching the trailer for House of Cards Season 2. You know what was amazing, Tom, is you watch the first half of that, and it's like it's very House of Cards-y music, of course, but then like halfway through, they give you that theme, that do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and I was just like, oh, so excited, so ready for this, man.
We got all kinds of tidbits about House of Cards coming up in the show, but let's bring in our guest first, Mr. Brian Dunaway, some cartoon guy, Comics Coast to Coast, BrianDunaway.com, Film Sack. What am I missing?
That's Comics Coast to Coast, Film Sack. The Final Score, we do the video game podcast. I'm doing 2, but I was on 3.
Are all of those on the Frog Pants Network?
They all are on the Frog Pants Network. And Scott Johnson has been so good to me over the years. He lets me do my Comics Coast to Coast thing on there, which I do exclusively with my co-host, those guys.
Yes.
Matt the Wad. Well, I was going to say Matthew Descharme, and I was thinking, well, I was calling Matt the Wad on the show, and then Joel Duggan. But yeah, those guys are great.
Those guys are good. Good guys. Well, thanks for joining us, man.
No, thank you so much. I always love being on these shows that Tom and Brian do, and they right in the camera. I usually do not video stuff. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm totally excited about this. I'm a big cord killer myself, and I can't wait to talk more about it.
All right, well, let's start by acquiring our primary target. We talked last week, actually, about Game of Thrones being the most pirated show, but Torrent Freak has their list of the most pirated movies of 2013 now, and The Hobbit topped the list. But the thing about this is it's not the list itself that's usually all that interesting. It's the more popular movies are the ones that usually are more popular downloads, although some interesting absences are there. The Hunger Games Catching Fire didn't really get torrented all that much, so that's interesting. But you put that increasing number of pirated movies alongside the fact that Hollywood box office set another record, $10.9 billion domestically, edging out the $10.8 billion from 2012. Now, again, just like in 2012, ticket sales actually declined slightly, or you could call it flat, but they made more money per ticket by doing IMAX and 3D and special occasions and all of that sort of thing. So it's hard to tease out what's going on here, but there have been studies before. And in fact, Wired points out in 2012, Wellesley College and the University of Minnesota did a study and found out that really the only significant impact of piracy on movies is when movies aren't released in the same place everywhere. Then the release lag seems to cause a revenue problem, not the actual piracy itself.
So what's fascinating, and we'll see if Zach can actually pull up the graph on there. I believe it's from the third story on there. Pirate Bay uploads surge 50% in a year. If you look at this graph that they have, it is astonishing, the number of seeds that people put on the Pirate Bay. Keep in mind, the Pirate Bay, of course, has had to change its domain, 6 times just in the last year. Of course, all these efforts to crush it and ban it, and Pirate Bay is going to make their own browser that'll effectively make them impossible to stop. But take a look at these uploads starting from just 2010 to 2013. You go from around 25,000 seeds that are uploaded to the Pirate Bay. Of course, the Pirate Bay doesn't actually host the actual content. It just makes available the links to get you there. Up to 70,000 going by the end of this past year. And what's amazing to me, Tom, is the variety of reasons that people upload to Pirate Bay. Because the first time I thought about this, or the first time first thing I thought of when I saw this was how the only time I've uploaded a seed to the Pirate Bay was when we seeded our own product on the Pirate Bay. When we released a episode of what we called Extra Credit Episode 1, the 3-coin trick, we knew that it was going to show up on Pirate Bay. So we figured if one of them was going to show up on Pirate Bay, it was going to be the version that we put out that had a watermark over the entire thing that just slowly scrolled across saying, hey man, that kid, that's Brian's daughter. That fancy studio, that's his spare bedroom. Seriously, it's $1.99. Is it really worth it? And then just to guilt them the entire way with that being the dominant thing. And so you couple that with the fact that you hear from inside, so many of the Django Unchained comes out within days of the screeners going out to the industry. All of a sudden, you have 500,000 downloads of this thing clearly being leaked from the inside. What a sticky mess that the piracy situation is, and specifically the Pirate Bay. Because there's parts of it that are totally legit and parts of it that are obviously very damaging. And I don't know what the right answer is. We see that parts of it are the fact that they're creating a black market, for example, what HBO does. And when they release not simultaneously to different markets, as you pointed out, Tom. I don't know. What does your gut say about all this, Brian?
Well, to me, it doesn't make sense for someone to use their own bandwidth to upload a movie to begin with. Why go out and do all the effort? I can totally understand. We used to buy pirated films on the streets in a big city. You would find somebody with a pirated camera copy of something, and it made sense because that individual made money off of it. There's nothing but pure satisfaction here, other than sticking it, to the movie industry, because there's really no money in it that I've ever seen. I've seen people, inject, maybe their own little name or whatever in the torrent, and you'll see, and they'll get a little bit of credit. But other than that, other than the feeling of sticking it to the man, what's the benefit to these people?
Well, part of the benefit is that it is very much a status grab. If you could be first to have day zero distributions of content, then oftentimes, if you are somebody who brings a 0-day wares to these guys, then you get credits. You get like leech access to all the stuff that they get. So basically,
you get Bitcoins. What do you get?
No, not even. I don't know. Maybe some of them do Bitcoins, but it seems like the biggest appeal is like by bringing something to value to the pirate community, you essentially get more access to the pirate community quicker and easier. Which again, it's weird because I guess I hadn't thought about, like, there isn't a buck in it. That's a good point.
Right.
Well, and
where's the
that
motivation?
is the point.
And so if people are doing it purely out of the desire to stick it to the man, that's hard to shut down. And of course, the studios are trying to shut that down. It's not going to happen, because the more you jab at them, the more they're going to fight back.
Well, and not all of them even care about sticking it to the man first. A lot of folks, this is just a hacker ethos at work. I want to see if I can get this out faster and at a better bit rate and be the person that made the best copy available, because I just want to be that person. I want to see if I can. And they're always, even when you stop that person from doing it, there's going to be another person with the same mindset down the road. Now, I'm not saying you can't affect piracy. Obviously, something affected the Hunger Games being uploaded or being downloaded, actually. Well, and who knows why? Some people say, "Oh, the screener didn't go out as fast, so keep the screeners under lock and key." Well, but then you don't have the effect of the screeners, or it's inside the industry, so educate the industry. Well, the industry is wide and vast, and there are people inside the industry who want to fight the man because they're mad at the industry, even though they're a part of it for some reason. My feeling on this is you're trying to treat the symptom rather than the cause when you go after the pirates. And if you want to treat the cause for the majority of the people out there is this lag. It's the inability to access it. And as this Wired article points out, a lot of these downloads must have come from people who saw the movie, because a lot of the movies that got pirated did so well. So maybe instead of delaying DVD releases, you let people who go and pay to see the movie have an opportunity to buy the DVD immediately at a discount or something like that, if that's what you want to do, or get a digital copy of it, so that they don't have to go and try to download it illegally.
And unfortunately, the efforts we've seen in that regard from Hollywood have been these kind of like disingenuous attempts to take B movies that weren't going to do very well and release them day and date where everyone, you know, buy the movie, do the download, go see it in the theater. We don't care. It's like, it doesn't matter because your movie's Tower Heist and I hate you for trying, you know? Although you could get away with, I bet, some temporary windowing where imagine that you went and saw The Avengers and then on the way out, there's a kiosk that said, right now, give us $10. And the day the DVD comes out, you will have it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. Like, capture them when they're all excited. Like, I want to see it again, and let people give you their money right then. I wonder if that could work, but I don't know.
I think that's one of the most missed markets in the movie theater industry. You know, movie theaters make most of their money on popcorn, drinks, concessions, and very few
all
of
their
them,
money.
Right, all their money, and very few of them do merchandise tie-in. I'm like, sell a T-shirt. I'm the most excited about a movie when I leave. I would totally buy, you know, an Iron Man T-shirt as I go out because I've just drank the Kool-Aid of the Iron Man 3. You know, and I'm walking out and I'm like, Iron Man shirt, gotta have it.
Well, and especially, you know, you even see stuff like fine art prints. The Alamo Draft House will partner with Mondo Media, and you'll get those awesome reimagined classic movie posters with the retro 70s style or whatever. So you do see some businesses nibbling at those edges, but by and large, I think you're right. I think it's all just popcorn and trash.
Popcorn. Can I see a popcorn?
Oh, just popcorn and trash, ladies and gentlemen. That's Hollywood right there. Hollywood. Actually, if you look at Hollywood, if you've ever driven on Hollywood, that is kind of what it's about. Let's acquire our secondary target, shall we?
Yes.
Got a Netflix 3 ways served for you today coming up. But first, let's talk about Brian Krzanich. I got a little cross-eyed there. Brian Krzanich is the CEO of Intel, and we have speculated on why it is that Intel is rumored to be selling its set-top box, the OnQ set-top box, and giving up on it since Krzanich took over as CEO in the summer. Well, he has talked to Recode. Those are the folks that used to be at All Things D. They're doing a site called Recode now. And he told them pretty much what we all said was the reason, which is, in his words, when you go and play with the content, guys, it's all about volume. And we come at it with no background, no experience, no volume. He said that the technology that they created is great. He praised it in this interview, but they couldn't play in the content deal area. They think Verizon can. He said they're probably one of the better companies to take over something like this, but he didn't commit that they are actually the ones that are going to buy it, and it still hasn't been sold yet. I think this is telling. Now, maybe I'm overinterpreting this, but I think it's telling that a great hardware manufacturer like Intel, and granted, they've had their failures before, but let's say that OnQ is the hardware that it promises to be, has to give up on the entire market and sell it off because they can't strike content deals. Does that not imply that the playing field is not level enough to encourage innovation?
I'll let Brian go first because all I want to do is gloat about how right I am on this issue.
I absolutely agree that trying to get the content from these distributors is almost impossible, even for somebody big like Intel, who can make something totally innovative, and they're just not going to be able to get the content because, oh man, just don't get me started on Warner Brothers. They've been the worst. They were the first ones that I remember pulling out of Redbox and going, nope, you're going to have to wait, a month.
Yeah, 30 days, right.
Right, 30 days before we're going to put that content in your hand. And now they're doing their own streaming media library. And I'm like, you're fracturing my abilities to get movies that I enjoy without, going through your service. And I don't want to go through your service. I want to go through whatever service I want, whether it be Amazon, Redbox, or wherever. But they're kind of like funneling everything into their little spot. And of course, that's gonna kill innovation. But that's they've got all the power. They have the content. And there's been a little bit of we'll talk about that later, I think, in the show. But there's been a little bit of shift from that, but it's still there.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. It feels so good to have been so right. I don't watch a lot of sports ball, but it's like after these last few months of me guessing, like my prediction was that I bet the hardware was great. I bet it was just that they were too far on the outside. They couldn't make it happen. And then the game ended and the superstar exactly says, "Oh man, I'm sorry. It's just being out there. The stuff's really good, but we just can't get any traction in there with the deals." Yeah, man, this is just like what we've been talking about. The reason we saw a turnaround in the music industry is because the music industry was scared out of their freaking minds, and they had a powerful personality like Steve Jobs come in and say, "Shut up, 99 cents," and that's not happening in the video world, and that is what we need. And maybe it just needs to be. I'd hate to say it, I'm not pro piracy at all, but piracy is what terrified the music industry into doing something that turned out to be really great for consumers and for the music industry. So hopefully hopefully something will come along to scare the video companies as well.
Yeah. And Krzanich says they're looking for a partner that can scale along with them. So it may be that they don't sell off the entire bit, that they say, look, we're going to give you the team, but we hold the intellectual property for the devices because we still want to license out those devices to people to manufacture or manufacture them themselves, in which case Intel still gets a bit of a win. If it works like that, I think Krzanich is a smart guy, and he is dead on right to say, we can't play in this content game. I think that's the ultimate problem, though, is that they should be able to at least launch a product. The fact that they have to go to somebody who's already playing in the content game, maybe a Verizon or somebody like that who has leverage, means that something's out of whack. That needs to be addressed. And nobody ever talks about that outside of shows like ours and people in chat rooms in IRC across the internet. You don't hear anyone politically ever under any pressure to say, we need to loosen up the restrictions. Maybe occasionally a John McCain talks about something like unbundling, and that's as close as you get.
Yeah, but that's just to score cheap points. Also, we should point out that I believe in this interview, he did not acknowledge the alleged Verizon deal in the works. Like that's still not official. Is that correct, Tom?
No, he didn't name Verizon. He just indicated that they were looking for a partner and then described Verizon.
We need somebody who's got like a lot of red in their logo, maybe like a giant check mark.
It wasn't quite that dead on, but
that's what we need.
But business model wise, it kind of was. All right, let's move on to our signals intelligence. Of course, the signals in this particular case being the signals that deliver the stuff you want to watch. The services. And as I mentioned earlier, we have Netflix three-ways for you today. First of all, Netflix has decided to float out a new option, $6.99 a month, limiting you to only streaming on one device. Apparently, the current $7.99 plan lets you do two devices. Also limits you to standard def for some reason, which that's the part that confuses me. Going down to $6.99 is fine, but then limiting you to standard def. There's also apparently a $9.99 level that would let you do 3 streams on 3 devices at high definition. Reed Hastings also showed up today at LG's press conference saying that House of Cards will stream in 4K this year, only on LG TVs, though. The LG Smart TVs, which happen to run WebOS, we'll talk a little bit about that later too, will be able to get the 4K streams from Netflix. And on a less important note, the current season of House of Cards now has director's commentary on it. So if you wanted to have that DVD experience from Netflix, you can have it without having to buy the House of Cards DVDs.
Actually, I want to tackle these in reverse order. I actually think it's a huge deal that they're adding director's commentary to House of Cards, mainly because that's been one of the criticisms of Netflix is that since you're not actually buying DVDs, you get the rental versions of all these, which means you don't get any of the bonus features that come with them. So the fact that on their own original content, where they don't have to worry about any kind of licensing restriction or whatever, that they're adding that says that they at least recognize that consumers want that. And especially it's smart because with House of Cards Season 2 coming out, what's the first thing you want to do is go get caught up, refresh yourself on House of Cards. But it's like I started rewatching it. I got like 2 episodes in and I'm like, yeah, I already know all this. But I will go and watch it all again with director's commentary. That'll get me super hyped for House of Cards Season 2. The standard def programming, I actually suspect that if there's something to be read between the lines, it's that most people paying $7.99 are not bothering to watch on 2 screens. Or if they do, they don't notice that they're using 2 streams concurrently. My guess is the only people who do are folks like me who their kids are in the other room watching it on something. Yeah. If you live alone or whatever, if they just offered a one stream for $6.99, everybody would immediately take it. I think it's worth it to drop it down, and I actually don't think it's a bad idea.
In other words, they made it standard def to stop too many people taking them up on it.
Correct, because I suspect, let's say, half the people aren't using two streams, or very rarely are ever using two streams at once.
That's consumer hostile.
Yeah, I don't even know if it is. I think it's
I'm going to offer
pricing.
you something, but also cripple it at the same time.
No. Consumer hostile would be to not even bother to offer it. This is detecting an opening and making it available. And plus, keep in mind, standard definition means if you're watching it on an iPad, you're pretty much getting standard definition. So if you're comfortable watching it on your iPad for $6.99, if you're a college student, I think it's a better deal than $7.99.
Display, you're not getting it standard definition.
What's that?
You got a Retina display, you're not getting it standard definition.
Yeah, I guess not. But I mean, it looks good enough in that. I'm surprised that you think that this is problematic. If the choice is to have the tier or not have the tier, and the price is to drop down the definition, I'd rather that they give more options. I think it's a good thing.
I always am a little bit reluctant anytime they start adding a lot of tiers. This is Microsoft price magic. Just over the top crazy stuff with let's give you so many tiers that eventually when we start taking some away, it's not really a big deal. We didn't really have a price hike. We just dropped a few of our pricing tiers. No big deal. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that if they add $6.99 with one device, that should be equivalent otherwise to every other plan, or at least you should be able to get one stream. When you say like, oh, we're going to make it standard def so too many people don't take advantage of it, then that's not a good plan. Well, if you're worried too many people will take advantage of it.
That's also not what they said. That's what I conjectured.
I know that, and it's a fair point not to put words in their mouth. But but if Brian's right, I would find that to be incredibly consumer
hostile. Let me throw one other thing your way. I know that on my iPad, I actively avoid ever watching any Netflix on my iPad because I'm afraid it'll stream in HD and it will eat up my bandwidth. Whereas like I could see like being excited to get standard definition, knowing that I could get away with like 20 or 30 movies in a month before I hit my cap.
Curtis B mentioned that in the chat room too, and I think that's a fair point. But then it should be pitched as sort of, I don't know. It's like they're pitching two different things. Like you're going to be limited in one way, plus another random way that we've never limited anyone. I would prefer standard definition to just be either auto-detected, like, oh, you're on an iPad. Would you like to go to standard definition to save bandwidth? Just make that as a feature rather than a price point.
Yes. Well, and you are right about that. And again, that is what Netflix is doing. These are experimental price points that are not available to everyone. They've said that these are trials. They don't know that they're going to offer it to everyone. And and that goes both for the lower price point at $6.99 and the middle tier price point of $9.99 for 3 streams. They said not everyone's going to get these. We just want to try them out and see if they work. So in that regard, look, I mean, this in every way supports the kind of ethics I want to see a company do. They're trying things out. They're experimenting. They're finding the sweet spot to get as much as you can for a price that you can afford. I'm okay with all of this. I don't feel like it's crippled or bad for the consumer.
I don't even know what I pay Netflix anymore.
Wait, you get DVDs, physical discs, yeah.
I do the streaming and the physical disc. I don't even know what I am allowed to do anymore. I just give them my money once a month and I go there.
I do agree with Brian that you got to be careful about price complication. So I am glad that it's not like it's $6.99 for the standard def one device and then $7.50 for the high definition one device and then $8. You know, that can get ridiculous. All right, let's gear up, people. This should be obvious. It's about the gear. It's about the devices. And of course, the Consumer Electronics Show going on right now in Las Vegas means we're going to get lots of gear news. What's dominating the headlines, at least in the cord cutting space today, are all of the smart TV platforms. And there's 4 of them that we have to talk about. One is Roku in partnership with Hisense and TCL. They're going to make in the autumn of 2014 a bunch of televisions with Roku built in available. So no dongle, no set-top box. You just buy the TV. It comes with Roku. Opera has signed up Samsung for its smart TV apps stored. Now, interestingly, this is only going on Sony TV, or it's going on Sony TV and Blu-ray players, but it's only going on Samsung Blu-ray players, not on Samsung TVs yet. Remember, Samsung has their own system for that. There's also Firefox OS showing up on smart TVs. The deal is touting its adaptability because it's HTML based, which means it's easier to write stuff that works on the web and works on the television. Panasonic is one of the partners there. And then, as we mentioned earlier, LG, which bought WebOS from HP last year, has put WebOS on its television so that you can buy an LG TV that's a smart TV with WebOS, and it's got these little cards across the bottom of the screen, and your video keeps playing while you're looking through the options. The other thing I think is interesting here is TV is just one of the cards. Usually with smart TVs, apps is a selection, and then you go into the apps and you see the apps. With WebOS, they're like TV is an app, settings is an app, and then Hulu and Netflix and all the other apps are these little cards along the bottom of the screen. So the question is, we've got all these different approaches, and we could go over these all day long, but can somebody make the smart TV a better option than a set-top box?
Well, and you would think objectively that they have all the advantage to begin with, because think about, like, which would you rather have, an iPod Nano, which is a very small iPod player, or an iPhone, in which case the Nano is effectively shrunk to nothing. But the question is the trade-off on the capability to do it. Right now we're looking at the WebOS demo for, is this the LG one that I'm looking at, Tom? Did you see this?
Yeah, this is the WebOS, right?
And if it's as smooth as it looks, and it's tough because I don't know if this is all just a pre-rendered sequence or whatever, but it's jaunty and cute, and it seems to move really fast, and it seems to pride itself on, like, look how fast you are setting up your television. If it really is that way, then I'll stop howling and crowing at it. But by and large, I'm not optimistic. In general, every time I've ever seen any OS built into a television system, it's been just laggy enough that I wanted to punch it. I think most consumers just want their displays to do one thing, and that is display exquisitely wonderful imagery, and everything else leave to a box on the outside.
I'm agreeing with you 100%, Brushwood. I don't want my TV to be smart. I've got enough devices that are smart enough attached to it. I just want it to look good. I want it to perform well. I could care less about the OS. As a matter of fact, it'll probably get in my way.
Okay, but let me just be the devil's advocate then.
Please be.
Because your smart TV can still look really good and have a built-in app system that works really well. I mean, having Roku already built in, for a lot of people, that means I don't have to think about buying another thing and then plugging it in and taking up an HDMI port. I just have Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, all the things I want available right there on the screen from my one remote. And I don't have to cobble together a system. Some people like to cobble together a system, but a lot of people don't. I think that is really appealing to a lot of people. The reason it hasn't caught on yet is that smart TV interfaces have just royally sucked.
Yep. Well, not only have the interfaces sucked, but they've all been underpowered. You have that lag, you have that delay, you have the slow herky jerk of the motion going on. You have to wait those extra 3 seconds. Now, here's the thing: I've actually softened my stance from previous days when you and I have had the same discussion, Tom. I actually believe it can happen now, if for no other reason than look at the popularity of the Xbox One primarily as a hub to act as an overlay interface between your television or your cable box and your television. If they could build that into the television, imagine, picture televisions 5 years in the future where they're powered enough that all of a sudden you don't have to guess what input a thing is on anymore, but instead it just backs out and it shows you all 6 inputs at the same time, and you just point to which one, or you say it, and you casually talk to it with a Kinect type interface. There's no reason that they can't get that right on televisions. The only problem is this, and it's going to be extraordinarily slow. It's going to be extraordinarily iterative. It's that 5 to 7 year replacement cycle with televisions that's killing development on this.
I have I think I said this before, but I have a Roku that is the original Roku, and I think I got it, I don't remember exactly, 08, 09, probably 08, and it won't get the new software updates anymore. It's just too old. Now, if that was built into my television, that would mean my television was too old to get software updates 5 years later.
Which
I've
I'm
got
sure
a television
some TV,
that's older than 5 years right now.
I'm sure some TV manufacturers would love that to be the case.
The consumers aren't going to spring. They're not going to love that, and they're not going to, that may be something that bites them later on. Maybe they don't realize it when they buy the TV at first, but they're going to complain.
Yeah,
I can't imagine myself currently. I think it's a perk, absolutely, having a smart TV, and I'm excited about the technology. I just can't imagine that when I go to purchase the TV, that one of the major factors that may come into play is which OS do I want? I don't think that's even going to enter my mind.
I'll tell you what. Let me throw this out. What if there was a television that came from a company that had an extraordinary background in innovative OSs and and interfaces that people immediately fell in love with? I'm
with you.
In other words, what about the Apple TV? If and when Apple TV happens, can it be the one to do this?
I would totally buy an Apple TV, but I'm
it's
a fanboy.
Video player.
So what do you expect?
It's a music player.
It's the best display we've
a
ever
web
sold.
browser.
Yeah.
I don't know. And we think you're gonna love it. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get on to our moving target. It's just the one moving target today, but it's the partially crowdfunded Veronica Mars movie trailer that is out, showing that, in fact, all that money you pledged on Kickstarter, those millions of dollars, have been spent, at least making a trailer.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I never got into Veronica Mars. Outside of the fact I know that the folks who made the theme music for NSFW, the band Kissinger, they played some of their music on Veronica Mars. That's my only connection of Veronica Mars.
There's a bunch of Austin bands made their way to Veronica Mars, yeah.
Yeah, but I will say that the trailer did a good enough job. Like, I could tell that I'm missing out on a thing, and that if I liked that thing, that I'd be really excited that that thing is back and those guys. And I could tell I'm supposed to be all like, oh, that's that dude, and there's that place, and that's that reference. But none of those meant anything to me. So I think it's, I don't know. It's I'm excited for all you people who are excited.
Right. And I was totally, I went back and watched a few of the episodes. I think I watched on Netflix, and it was fun. And I hate that I missed out on it the first time around. But I
so
think
are you excited about the movie then now?
It's hard to say I'm excited about it because I'm kind of in the same boat. It's
I'll say no. I'm not. I
know you're not because you never watched the TV series, but Brian did. Dunaway did.
Right. But only recently. So, I only got a recent attachment to it. So I'll probably watch it when it comes out on some streaming service. But am I going to go to the theater? Probably not.
I can say my wife watched Veronica Mars on Netflix, actually, like a couple years ago, and she was super excited to see this trailer. So I think, Brushwood, you're totally right. Like, the people who are into Veronica Mars are very into this trailer. In fact, Annalie Newitz at IO9 wrote, "First Veronica Mars trailer fills us with squee."
Squee.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot of squeeing going on.
Well,
shall we?
I don't know what to say about
Brian,
Veronica Mars.
Brian Dunaway, are you familiar with our Frontlines segment?
Is that something you do with pets?
Yes.
Yeah, we just squeeze a little bit of cord cutter news right between the shoulder blades once a month.
Gets rid of the ringworm. It's awesome.
It's 6 stories. We got 60 seconds each. Each of us can choose one extension. And I'll start. ABC is going to restrict access to full TV show episodes on the internet starting January 6th. That's today. You'll be restricted to watching them only 28 days afterwards if you're not a particular cable subscriber or paying for Hulu Plus. If you are paying for Hulu Plus or you're one of the cable providers that signed on to the deal, you can watch them the next day.
Yeah, this is number one. I'd hate to say it. It's a smart move for them. It's a smart move for Hulu Plus because now it gives you a value. That's been our problem is like, what's the value of Hulu Plus to begin with? Now they're providing it. Unfortunately, they're providing it in this top-down, restrictive, draconian way by taking away your expectation that you should be able to watch stuff directly on the web. I'm bummed, but I think it's a smart move on their part.
I think they had to do it. I agree. ABC, Disney, they've got to make some money. I'm already doing the Hulu Plus anyway, so it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, finally a legitimate reason to pay Hulu Plus for something. Like you actually get something for your money. I'm into that. And a lot of cord cutters don't care about watching something right away. Some of them do.
All right, next story. Netgear takes on Chromecast. They got a dongle, looks an awful lot like the Chromecast, only this one's not going to be marketed to consumers, but instead to content providers. I assume they mean stuff like Time Warner Cable or your Comcasts or whatever, you plug it in. How do you feel about that, Tom? This is in many ways the reverse of a smart TV revolution in that they're keeping your TV dumb and then attaching headgear to it.
Well, this is for the people who are like, I don't want it built into the TV because of upgradability. This is the solution, right? It's not a big box. plugs right into the HDMI port. I don't know how many people are really going to love this as their cable box, which is kind of what it seems like they're trying to replace here.
Right. Little
Brian?
encryption, something to decrypt, something to hack. I can't wait till this comes out.
Just buy a Chromecast if that, at that point, right?
Right. Well, this is probably going to be directly related to your cable company, so I'm sure you'll be able to get more junk.
It'll be way restricted. It won't be as capable as a Chromecast. I think it's dead in the water unless it comes free with your subscription.
Which it will.
Steam machines. Actually, in an hour from this recording, Valve will go on stage and announce the following, at least according to Engadget. They've got a bunch of partners. I think it's 12 partners to make Steam boxes, which not only play video games from the Steam service, but also are supposed to have some streaming video options in them as well because they run the Steam OS.
Yeah, this is brilliant. I think the rollout of the Steam machines is extraordinary. Now, just so you know, I'm going to take an extension on this. The partners that they've already announced are if you are a PC gamer like me, then you recognize a lot of them: Alienware, Falcon Northwest, iBuyPower, CyberPower PC, which is what we ran the studio on for a while before we went to Doghouse Systems, Origin PC, which is what this one is here. This is great because by making a platform, everybody wants to see PC gaming. Everyone who's in the PC gaming industry wants to see PC gaming thrive and survive in the living room, and I think they're going about it in a very smart way. Are you guys remotely excited about it?
Totally stoked. I've messed with the Steam OS a little bit myself. I downloaded the beta and played with it, and I'm excited to see what kind of hardware is going to be out there. It's going to be a tough choice, though. I think I'm going to go with Zotac.
I want to see what the differentiation between them is, and we might get a little bit of that later on tonight. So some of you may already know if you're watching this later. I want to know, like, okay, if I buy a Falcon Northwest instead of a Zotac, what do I get? Is it just a price difference? Is it a feature difference? Or is it better for me to just buy some bare metal hardware and throw SteamOS on there myself?
Well, and keep in mind, we already have seen what that marketplace is going to look like. We see it in graphic cards where you'll have, GeForce will have the latest NVIDIA chipset will come out, but then you'll have, 6 different vendors come out with it. You're like, oh, then you have a quality war where the consumer wins. And that's something that we've never seen on the console side in the living room. It would be amazing if we could bring that positive aspect to that space.
I can't wait to complain about my Alienware, how much it cost. Can't wait.
You want to walk us through this NFL story, Tom?
Yeah, well, essentially, Ina Fried at Recode has a story of the problems of trying to stream the NFL playoffs, but NBC and CBS offered their playoff games for free with advertising over the internet, while Fox offered a stream of their playoffs, but you had to authenticate as a pay TV subscriber. However, Fox will be streaming the Super Bowl, the championship American Gridiron football game, for free on the internet without requiring you to authenticate.
Yeah, you're just going to see more and more of this authentication crap until finally you'll get the authentication without having to have the stupid cable subscription. There'll be some kind of world pass.
Hulu Plus.
Right.
Do you think Hulu Plus might be it, Tom?
I think that would be a smart move for them to become that.
You know what? You're right. There's an open demand for that capability, and they could be the ones to do it. YouTube to show off lower bandwidth 4K streaming at CES. There's only one part of that I didn't like. The lower bandwidth part.
Why don't you like lower bandwidth? Who wants more bandwidth?
Yeah, Cordkiller. What's wrong with you?
Because you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the early days when in the late 90s when Time Warner Cable announced, and it's all digital, and because it's digital, that means it's good. And in fact,
quality.
you got like a Discovery Science Channel that was digital,
but
they had allocated such
I definitely know where you're going with that, but it's the VP9 codec that Google bought and made patent free that they're using, and it's a very good codec. It's what the Google Hangouts use, and when they look good, they look great.
Right. I think this is gonna be a little more successful than what Brian's referring to. I think you're referring to like the HD bikini channels and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think available at the time.
Yep.
I know it's not going to be like that.
Well, good. I
no bikinis.
All right. I trust in you.
There may be
YouTube.
bikinis. Some bikinis may be used in the making of this. Finally, Dish causing some more trouble at CES. Of course, they got in trouble last year because of the Hopper, which they're being sued about, but they haven't given up the Hopper. And in fact, the Joey line of set-top boxes is what's getting an update this time at CES. Those are the boxes that let you add network tuners to the Hopper platform. The Super Joey lets you add 2 additional network tuners. That means you can now record up to 8 shows at once. Although I'm not sure why you would need that. Right. Maybe you do. And now you can.
Boy,
Super Joey will be available to Dish customers in the first quarter of 2014.
It's amazing because we just have reached an era where if you told me that 10 years ago, I'd be all like, that is the future. And now I hear it and it's today. I'm like, boy, that is the past. Who cares about recording 8 things at once?
Well, and they are
so locking me in.
Letting go the virtual Joey app for LG smart TVs. LG getting a lot of this kind of stuff. It's interesting.
Smart. All right, I guess that's it.
That is it for the front lines. Oh, you know what? We forgot to mention the PS4 app for Dish as well. Dish doing a lot of app stuff so that you can watch Dish. You can watch some things on Roku. You can watch things on the PS4. Now the LG TV.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe Dish is going to be the cheapest way. Maybe Dish's next move is the cheapest way to get cable authentication so that you can go access all of those independent direct streams.
Now, the movie draft is technically over, but we're still in that waiting period. So let's go ahead and do both On Our Radar and the movie draft together.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Real quickly, On Our Radar, and the movie that's coming out this weekend that I think most of our audience might be interested in is Her. That's the Spike Jonze film about the virtual assistant that's voiced by, what's her name?
Sexy McHotness.
Yeah, I don't remember. Scarlett
Johansson. There you
Scarlett Jones. Anyway, Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with her. So you might want
yeah, I remember that now. He's still got a little bit of his facial hair left.
Looks good, but
just the mustache.
Look, you're burying the lead here, Tom. The real story is, of course, that Father Robert Ballecer has jumped forward, handily leaping past Justin Robert Young to take the #1 spot. Technically, standing belly clap for Father Robert. Technically, we do have to wait 30 days for the final call, but I don't see any way anyone's going to catch back up with this. This is extraordinary, not only because he jumped to #1, but he did so spending only $86 of his 100. He may be the cheapest winner we've ever had, the thriftiest champion in the history of the NSFW movie draft. And congratulations, man. With just 3 movies, Thor, Frozen, and The Wolf of Wall Street, he walked right over Justin, complete with the Hunger Games.
Frozen was a good choice.
Yeah. We thought Casey McKinnon was going to win when she jumped out to the early lead with Gravity. We thought Justin had it locked up because of Hunger Games. And then look at that. Father Robert Ballecer.
Man, I can't believe, now that it's been a little bit of time, for how much promotion went into Anchorman 2. Can you believe Anchorman 2 only made $108 million?
It's amazing.
Will
Ferrell was like on the streets, just beating, just going, hey, come see the movie.
He was giving back rubs to anyone.
I have found when I start to see a lot of promotion for a movie, that usually means it's going to underperform. Because that's why they're doing all the promotion, is they know that. They're looking at their numbers and their surveys and going, we need to goose these numbers up, get some marketing going.
Well, and boy, there was no shortage of trying it, complete with actually having him as Ron Burgundy delivering the news in South Dakota or whatever.
Yeah.
That was amazing that it didn't really go where. We should also point out that the winner appears to be, in the chat realm, some guy with $879 million. This is extraordinary to me, Tom.
That $879?
I don't believe we've ever had more than a 2 or 3-way tie, or maybe even a tie at all. It's astonishing to me that there's so many combinations that out of the 1,000 people who sign up for the Chat Realm League, we usually have just one single winner. And in this case, some guy won with Gravity, Captain Phillips, Frozen, Tyler Perry's A Medea Christmas, Anchorman, and The Wolf of Wall Street. Nice slate, dude. Good job.
Well done. But probably, if I'm going to do it for Father Robert, we should probably do it. Clapping for you as well. That is impressive.
I believe we have a special message from Father Robert. We're going to be playing on NSFW tomorrow night, so watch for that.
Be sure to watch for that. Let us see what's under surveillance. This, of course, is all the stuff.
All the things
penetrate
that we're
our
watching.
eyeballs.
Hey, hey, Tom.
Yeah, Brian?
Hey, Tom. Did you watch that Sherlock season 3?
I don't know. Yes.
Series 3, as the Brits say.
Series 3.
So we'll have to have some kind of spoiler apocalypse again after the show.
Yes.
What about you,
must.
Brian? Did you watch the Sherlock?
I am shamefully just now getting caught back up on Doctor Who. And when I say getting caught back up, I mean like from 2005.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you were going to say like from Sylvester
1973.
McCoy.
Yeah,
From 1973. I'm on the black and white ones right now. No, I haven't watched any of Sherlock. I've heard great things. So no spoilers.
Pretty great, and we'll talk about it in the spoiler area later on.
Great.
What about Bravest Warriors? You still watching that?
I rewatched all of them with the kids because once you cross the border, and you're like, all right, I guess I can watch this with the kids. Man, oh man, do my kids love it and have watched it again and again, and I don't even mind because it just gets funnier each time, and weirdly, it gets sweeter each time. You're watching this though, right, Brian?
Oh, I'm a huge Bravest Warriors fan. Constantly pimping those guys, and it's fantastic. The show itself, if you like Pendleton Ward and you like Adventure Time, as I do, you absolutely have to watch Bravest Warriors. It's cute and funny and risky and everything I love about great animated cartoons that kind of transcend the whole generations. And I got to say, Catbug is the most popular thing in my house.
Hey, who do they have an actual kid voicing Catbug? Is that why they're able to make it unbelievably cute?
They do. I think he's 5 or 6 now, and he is absolutely hilarious. And I love I love this whole generation of content that we're creating using kids that are 5 years old doing voices. And Axe Cop is written by a 6-year-old, and just I really enjoyed bringing the kids into this modern craziness that we have.
Yeah, what's weird is I've only watched one episode of Axe Cop on television, and obviously the line of it being written by a 5-year-old, line's maybe more than 5 years old now. So, but the fact that is the conceit of the show, and that you have adult writers who are clearly trying to write more in the vein of what that 5-year-old started to write, still makes it adorable and a lot of fun. I totally dug the episode I saw of it. What else you watching?
Now, in the whole vein of the cartoons, I'm watching the regular show. And how I'm watching the regular show is I am purchasing it on Amazon with credits I'm earning through HitBliss.
What? So you're the guy using HitBliss.
I am the only person using HitBliss, and I'm constantly annoying them. I don't think I'm the only person, but it doesn't seem to have taken off like I think it should have. And I think once the word of mouth gets around and people actually start using this, if you're not familiar with HitBliss, basically they pay you to watch little advertisements anywhere between 15 to a minute long. And so you can sit down and consume all the advertisements at once, and then you can choose to use the credits you earned to purchase videos on Amazon or places like that. Right now, I think I'm earning around I think it's $1 for every 2 minutes or something like that. So
and how much are you
good.
spending on hygiene products that you didn't think you needed?
I'm actually not buying any hygiene products, but they do have a very select amount of commercials that I've been watching the crap. I've seen the FIFA commercial like 6 million times, the FIFA 2014 and the NFL
It's kind of a weird disconnect, isn't it? Between like, you could just have an ad-supported channel like Hulu, right?
Right.
Or you could do this, where it's like, watch all the ads at once and then pick what you want to watch later. It's an interesting model.
It is an interesting model, and one of the things I like about it is the fact that I'm not interrupted while I'm actually watching my program. I just go ahead and I just go ahead and take my medicine. I sit down, I watch my medicine.
Eat your vegetables.
Right, go ahead and eat them, and then I can sit down and I can watch the regular show and have a good time. Which, by the way, is a great show.
How far into regular show? What season are you on?
Oh, I'm all the way on about halfway through season 7.
See, you know what's funny is because I'm lazy and just watch on Netflix. Like I used to when I had cable, I'd watch it whenever it was on.
Right.
But the only episodes I've seen a lot have been that first season because that's on Netflix and the kids don't care, and it is one of those shows that just gets funnier each time you watch it. But I suspect that I'm just gonna have to, because I won't sit down and watch all those ads. I suspect I'm just gonna have to sit down and shell out $100 and buy all the seasons on Amazon.
Absolutely, and of course, it's much cheaper just to go get the DVD or whatever. You're really going to worry about high def. DVD is good enough.
Standard definition. And this is one of those counterintuitive things. You'd think we'd be quality snobs, but when it comes to a cartoon, usually, like I know for all the Walking Dead episodes I was buying standard def on all of them because I just wanted the story. I ran across, one of the things that happened, Tom, was we noticed that all of what we're watching had been online content. And this happened again. I got sick this week. So I was just sort of clicking around on Reddit and I found a couple of cool documentaries. One was a Nova that I'm sure was pirated, put up on YouTube about the science and history of fractals. And the other was a Nat Geo special on nuclear subs, which it's amazing how much good television bubbles up in those kinds of ways. And, I assume if they don't want them on there, they would take them down because surely the content ID match,
Isn't that our typical, reason that we'll watch stuff on YouTube? Because I'm like, well, if they really didn't want it out there, they would take it down. Because I watched a lot of Stephen King movies before they were put on Netflix for a while on YouTube. And I was like, well, they don't really care, so why should I care?
God, and that's the weird part, too, is because you have all these content creators who say things like Matt and Trey of South Park have said in the past, we just want you to see our stuff. We don't care how you see it. Just please watch it. And, of course, that's not what Viacom wants to hear.
No, not even that's why Viacom's suing YouTube right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they are worried about that perception that, if it's online, it must be okay.
Yeah.
Is that it for what you've been taking a look at?
Yeah, I'm getting more caught up on Archer as well, watching the rest of season 4 on Amazon. Oh, speaking of which, 1 week from today, I will have seen Archer live right here in Austin, Texas, and I'll make sure to report all about that. It should be awesome.
Absolutely. I finally finished Orange is the New Black over the weekend.
And?
What a cliffhanger ending. Cannot wait for season 2 now.
Should we talk about that and spoiling?
Maybe we should add that into the end of the spoiler talk.
Is there women?
Oh yes, there's women.
Yes.
Is it in a prison? All right,
Mr. Dunaway, there are women. There are also women in Downton Abbey, which premiered finally on PBS here in the United States. So we got the first 2 episodes at once here. It's already done its run on ITV in the UK. But it was interesting to get thrown two episodes, and this was our first use of the new over-the-air TiVo that I got.
I saw that you tweeted out a photo of it. Are you nibbling around the edges of possibly being a true cord cutter?
Well, yeah, that's the idea. Is I'm trying to convey. Here's the thing: my campaign, the only thing stopping me from cutting cable television or satellite television in my case, is Eileen. I have to convince my wife that it is worth the money. She has particular things that she cannot get from cord cutting. For instance, here's the most compelling one. She loves to watch season finales of big shows like Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead and Mad Men and be on Twitter and be part of that communal experience of watching it at the same time. For broadcast TV stuff, that's fine. We got an over-the-air antenna and now a TiVo, and it works great. But for those kinds of things, there's really no replacement. Like even BitTorrent is not going to save you there. So my charged thing that I have to do, the thing that I have to convince her of is that the money we won't spend by changing to cord cutting is worth giving up that communal experience.
Okay, here's what I say. I say don't give up that communal experience because, in fact, no matter, first of all, maybe if you guys lived in like the outskirts of Des Moines, I would say that you wouldn't be able to do this. But you live in Los Angeles, which tells me there's going to be someone hosting a finale
She already nixed
party.
that. She's like, and I don't want to go to someone else's house. I want to be on my couch with my Android phone on Twitter.
Man, see, to me, like
those are her requirements.
Like Alamo Drafthouse would host for all of their big events, like the last Breaking Bad. You would come in and you would watch the previous episode, and then the other. So you're in a movie theater, and it's that to me is as electric as it's going to get. But I understand if she wants to be on her couch, then she wants to be on her couch.
So I got to figure out all the options, and lay them out, and say, okay, you want to be on your couch 3 times a year. This is how much it's going to cost you for that.
Now suddenly it gets expensive. Now over-the-air stuff is very important to where you live because
I happen to live in a really good area because I'm in Los Angeles. and our house is open enough that it gets a really good signal. I'm using the Leaf antenna, which is amazing. It picks up everything. I have this old silver Arrow antenna that used to be like the best recommended one. It doesn't pick up as many as the Leaf antenna does, and I get all the major networks with the Leaf without any glitches so far. So I'm enjoying that. Also, catching up on The Americans, which we had on the DVR, and the Graham Norton Show had the entire cast of Anchorman 2 and Monty Python on the same New Year's Eve episode. That was insane.
That's awesome. Okay, let me just say one bit of a suggestion then. Just try giving a Baxies coupon at any given time. Just say, hey, let's just try canceling it for this month, and then we'll bring it back, because most of these guys are not going to ding you too hard with installation fees because they're just too excited to have you back on cable.
Oh, right.
I would think.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the things we could do, because the other thing we'll miss is HBO, right? Yeah. There's no easy way to get HBO. So we might have to, when Game of Thrones comes out, do the Time Warner $30 a month HBO thing and just do HBO Go. Mm-hmm. At which point we could, if we had to, like add back a package that has AMC in it or something.
See, and this is why so many people torrent. It's just, it's so easy.
You're right. You're right. Well, and
so
that's
freaking easy. I have an Xbox Media Center on a Ouya, and it's got Xbox Media Torrent, which I never use.
Of course. Yeah.
If I did, it's super easy to watch stuff. You just type it in and just catch
that
it right
is
up.
that is the real problem. And of course, as we've said before, we do not support piracy. We don't want piracy to win, but for consumers who are unconcerned with the stigma of piracy, that is the superior experience. And I hate that's the problem, the case.
Right?
Yeah.
There needs to be a way that supports the people who are making the content and gets you the content to watch when you want, where you want, how you want it. And that's the thing about Eileen's objection is she's like, I want to watch what I want, when I want, which is live, and how I want it, which is on my couch. And I'm like, all right, fair enough.
Yep.
That's what we all want. Give it to us.
Let's move on to some dispatches from the front. And this one's just came in over the wire from Ms. Veronica Belmont. It is Michael Bay on stage at CES. Now, yeah, good. You got it up,
my
Zach.
Gosh.
That's awesome.
All right, give me audio on this, Zach. I want to know what I'm seeing here.
I don't think we should full screen it because it'll probably get taken down. But
we'll
Michael Bay is asked to come out and to talk about the new curved Samsung television.
I create visual worlds that are so beyond everyone's normal life experiences. And Hollywood is a place that creates a viewer escape. And what I try to do is, as a director, I try to... the type is all off, sorry, but I'll just wing this.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah, we'll wing it right now. I try to take people on an emotional ride, and
all right.
Like we're having right now.
How does it? How do you think it's going to impact?
You know what he needs right now? Big explosion.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, he seriously is walking off stage. For those of you on the audio version, he just turns around and walks right off the stage.
No, actually, what I'd like to think is that he's apologizing for the Transformers franchise. I think he found that moment.
It finally hit him.
He finally caught up with him, and he's just like, he was overcome, and he's like, I'm sorry what I did.
Sorry.
Amazing.
Wow. All right. So that is a dispatch right from the front. Let's see.
I feel for him.
What's this comment from Gail Ann Hurd?
Oh, yeah. Hurd spoke of Walking Dead fans she's engaged with via Twitter who didn't even realize they were illegally downloading content due to slick pirate streaming sites that mimic legitimate services. The Walking Dead EP didn't say that piracy occurred despite freely available episodes, but the viewers were unaware that streaming options were piracy since it was provided by online services aping legitimate sources. This comes from a comment on Cordkillers.com, by the way. AMCTV.com definitely does not have Walking Dead available without cable company authentication, and therefore Walking Dead and Breaking Bad are still behind garden walls. I think you can purchase them for download the next day. but they don't have streaming versions online. I think they're right about that. Unlike over-the-air broadcasters that allow free ad-supported streaming, except for ABC now, from their websites, basic cable has a greater demand to be pirated, which would be alleviated by offering ad-supported over-the-web alternatives.
First of all, number one, that is again another testament to the problem that the superior experience is to illegally download stuff. Second of all, we just got this missive from Michael who says, "Wow, I just embarrassed myself at CES. I was about to speak for Samsung for this awesome curved 105-inch UHD TV. I rarely lend my name to any products, but this one is just stellar. I got so excited to talk that I skipped over the exec VP's intro line, and then the teleprompter got lost. Then the prompter went up and down, then I walked off. I guess live shows aren't my thing. But I'm doing a special curved screen experience with Samsung and Transformers 4 footage that will be traveling around the world." Man, that's rough. That's rough.
Wow. Man, so that's really from Michael Bay.
Yeah. Not to us, but it's on his blog. He just posted that. But that's oftentimes what makes people a good director is the precise control over everything, which of course you don't get in a live experience, which is a real bummer.
Right. Wow, that sucks. And the comments are just hateful.
Well, what do you know? It's the internet. That's
right.
Newsflash, this just in. Hateful trolls on the internet. Film at 11.
Is hateful. Oh, man, poor guy.
All right, you got the next email, or you want me to get it?
Here we go. This one is from a big fan of Tom and Brian on the blog. He says, "I guess I don't want new and legacy media to be mutually exclusive. I will likely always want nearly passive experience of flipping on a satellite or cable receiver and consuming whatever the Borg has for me at any given time. Rightly or wrongly, that curated, albeit lowest common denominator-based experience will always be like a warm, soothing stream of water across my weary brain. Regardless, until all faves are live via IPTV, total severation of the cord is probably not going to happen. Thanks for big fan." That's a legit point, man. And I think there's a place for it. If you have the type of work where, forgive my crudeness, but I think of it as the diarrhea television is just constantly coming at you. Right. My brother, he does 3D modeling and animation for video game companies. And you only need to engage the symbolic parts of your brain in order to do that and move this bone structure here and do that there. There's no reason he can't just have nonstop TV off in the corner. And he loves that. He, rewatches a bunch of Netflix stuff. And if you like to watch live traditional cable television, I'm not gonna hate you for it. But
Hulu has a really good system for that, where we like to watch HGTV House Hunters because talk about mindless. It's just mindless. And with Hulu, you can put on House Hunters, and when you get to the end, it will just automatically start the next one as if you're watching a television channel.
Right.
However, you can only do it within shows, right? It's going to go to the end of those shows, then it'll start a similar show, but it's going to keep going through those shows. So it would be great if there was a playlist.
Well, I don't know, because recently I was watching, I forget what I was watching. I had Hulu Plus on. I started up. I'm not sure how I even started the program. I think I started from the main screen on my PS3. And it was playing a variety of things. It was just all over the place. And I was like, what is this? I don't even want to watch this show. What is this? Turn it, flip.
Stop, please. And, Xbox does that in Netflix. It automatically starts to play the next episode. And sometimes you're like, no, actually, I only wanted to watch one this time. Stop making me binge.
That's all I can eat. Stop.
Yeah. By the way, the Walking Dead herd quote comments were from Sean from Queens. I looked it up on the blog. Sorry, Sean. I didn't mean to not give you credit when we read it the first time.
In that vein, on the Xbox Media Center, there's an add-on that you can put in that allows you to set it where when you play a movie, that it automatically will pull X number of trailers from Apple or wherever, and it will play trivia games, and it'll do all kinds of stuff so you just kind of pick the movie, and everything else is kind of just develops around it.
That's why people love XBMC, man.
Right.
The thing is, it's built on breaking the law.
Right.
Breaking the law. I take that back. XBMC is not built on breaking the law, but the appeal for many people is built on breaking the law.
Because there's no content otherwise.
Not that the trailers, you're not breaking the law in that case, actually. You're pulling trailers, which are freely available.
I'm paying back.
Well, and keep in mind also, there was a quote, this goes back to the MP3 days where, they were accusing people of wanting to steal free music. And it was said, look, man, I pay a lot of money to steal this free music. I pay for, my equipment. I pay for my, clearly it's not the cost that's the issue. It's the ease of access that needs to be repaired. And I do think that's a fixable problem if we can get past, these licensing and exclusivity agreements.
Right.
Sean's got an email. Hey, Brian and Tom, as a fan, I wanted to help you with the news show and remembered Brian saying he doesn't have the newest Apple TV. So I came up with an idea. Instead of sponsoring the show, I could buy a new Apple TV for Brian to try out for 30 days, after which he could take the unit, autograph it in silver Sharpie, have Tom autograph it as well, and give it out as a prize to one of the people who support the show by Patreon or something like that. For me, the easiest thing would be to have Brian send me an email address, and then he goes into some details there. Thanks from an expat photographer and all-around burn living in Vienna, Austria, cord cutter since September 2007 when I moved to Slovakia and had no other choice. Well, thanks, Sean. That's an intriguing idea.
I think you said he's an all-around bum, but I like him being an all-around burn.
Oh, I did. Okay, my eyesight's going.
No, I think that's a good. The only thing we'd have to be careful of is that we not make it exclusively available to Patreons. We'd have to make it to where you could also enter to win it for free. Without paying anything. I think there's legal things are hard. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Maybe we'll just have it be give to whoever we feel like. Justin sent us an email very simply saying, "Yar, is it pirating if it's also available for free?" And I think I can speak for both Tom and I when we say yes.
Yes.
Sometimes
still pirating.
it is. Well, sometimes it's not. Like being free doesn't make it pirating. It's all about the license, but the price is irrelevant.
Yeah. For example, recently we took that same first episode of Extra Credit, the 3-coin trick. I recently made it available for free, and I gave a coupon code so that you could check out and get the content completely for free. The reason I did that is because I wanted people to. I got a value of people going through the checkout system at Scam Stuff and then being a registered purchaser, and about half the people opted in of the marketing messages. That's all tremendously valuable to me. So, if you were to say like, "Oh, I saw you were giving away for free, so I just grabbed it off of BitTorrent," I'd be kind of pissed. I'd be like, "Well, screw you. That's not the plan."
Distributors want to distribute.
That's right.
They want to do it.
Haters gonna hate. Distributors gonna distribute.
That's right.
Well, that is it for this episode of Cordkillers. Brian Dunaway, an absolute pleasure having you on the show, man.
Oh, thank you so much, Tom and Brian. I've had a blast. I'm going to continue to cut those cords.
Killing them.
Killing that cords?
Oh, killing them. Sorry.
Scissors.
I'm going to kill it.
Stab them in the eye sockets.
Hey, where can folks find the other stuff that you do?
We can check me out at briandunaway.com, but I do a lot of stuff on the Frog Pants Network, do the Film Sack, and do the Final Score, and do the Comics Coast to Coast. I'm on the internet. Check it out. Also, you can follow me at the Brian Dunaway on Twitter.
Excellent. You can talk to us in your head anytime you want. We might not answer, though. So the better way to do it is to send an email to us, cordkillers@gmail.com. And Brian will have his army of children sort through them and read the important ones to him. Wait, is that how it works?
Either that or they'll draw pictures of poop and then just send you pictures.
But no, actually, Brian, in all seriousness, is really good at looking at those and responding to people. And we love to hear from you. So keep it coming. Or you can, as you saw, you can post on the website at cordkillers.com. Anything else before we head out of here, Brian?
No, man. We just got to spoil all the things.
Yep. So if you are a regular Cordkillers watcher, thank you, everyone. Goodbye for now. And look for the spoil episode, the Cordkiller spoil thing, coming soon.
As soon as we figure out a name. Also, want to give another huge thank you to the almost 1,000 patrons signing up at patreon.com/cordkillers. That's patreon.com/cordkillers. You guys have absolutely made this possible. We can't thank you enough.
Yes, incredible thanks. And this is the first time we're taking your money, so extra thanks. Please don't cancel.
It's only going to get better from here. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.